Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're here, it's probably because like so many others you've been touched by a story that didn't need words to be understood. A simple dance, a look, a moment. Sometimes that's all it takes to stir something in our hearts. Today's video is about Ellen Songu and Bar Ardu, two extraordinary talents who, years after their iconic work together in Kira Kak, gave fans something to feel again. A dance, yes, but also a reminder that some connections don't just fade away. Some just wait quietly for the right moment to return. Let's take it back. Once upon a time, and it really does feel like a fairy tale when you look back, Kira Kak brought us not only a story, but a feeling. Week after week, fans tuned in not just for the plot, but for the way Bar and Ellen brought their characters to life. Their chemistry wasn't just good, it was believable, natural, the kind that makes you forget you're watching actors. People didn't just root for Mare and Defi, they rooted for Ellen and Bar. But like all good things, the series eventually came to an end. The final scene aired, the lights went down, and the actors went their separate ways, at least publicly. Years passed. Rumors came and went. Social media whispered, but there was never confirmation, only memories. Then came the night. A gala, a celebration. A night like so many others in the industry, full of flashing lights, laughter, and polite conversation. But in the middle of it all, something happened. A slow song began to play. Guests stepped onto the dance floor. And among them, without fanfare, without announcement, were Ellen and Bar. They didn't perform. They weren't posing. They just danced. To anyone else, it might have looked like nothing. But to those who had followed their journey from the start, it felt like everything. The way they moved, it wasn't dramatic. It was gentle, familiar, as if they'd done this 1,000 times in private. And this was simply the first time the world had been invited to see. Their hands found each other naturally. No hesitation. Their eyes locked not with surprise, but with recognition. There was comfort there. There was history. That single dance, maybe just 2 minutes, was enough to reignite every question that had been asked for years. Are they still in each other's lives? Was the chemistry real? Did it ever really end? What followed was an online storm. A short, shaky video of the dance was posted anonymously, and within hours, it had gone viral. Fans from around the world watched, shared, commented. Old interviews resurfaced. Fan pages returned from the dead. Edits flooded TikTok and Instagram. And through it all, silence from both of them. No statement, no post, no denial. And somehow, that silence was the loudest answer of all. Because what is love, if not something you don't need to explain? Something that can be felt, even when it's not spoken. People began looking deeper. They noticed the way Ellen smiled during the dance, not like an actress, but like someone seeing something familiar and dear. They noticed how Bar kept his gaze on her, steady, soft, like he was holding something fragile. This wasn't nostalgia. This wasn't performance. This was presence. Insiders who were there said the moment changed the room. The chatter faded. The air shifted. No one dared interrupt. It was as if everyone knew they were witnessing something personal, something sacred. And that's rare, especially in an industry where everything is content, everything is for show. After that night, fans dug deeper. They noticed they had started following some of the same people again, spotted in similar places, their names being whispered again on set. Nothing concrete, but enough to hope. And that hope, it turned into something beautiful, because this wasn't just about two actors. It was about all of us, about what we hope is still possible: real connection, lasting love, quiet moments that matter. Maybe it reminded people of their own past loves, the one that got away, or the one they hoped would return. Maybe it made people believe, just for a moment, that love can survive time, distance, and everything in between. Colleagues who were there say they seemed happy, at peace, like two people who had finally found their way back to a familiar place, not because they were trying to recreate the past, but because they were ready to start again. And this time, maybe for real. We don't know what will come next. Maybe it was just a dance. Maybe it was the start of something more. But whatever it was, it felt honest. And in today's world, honesty feels revolutionary. So whether you're a longtime fan or just hearing about them now, take a moment to feel what they gave us. A glimpse into something rare, a quiet connection that didn't need to be sold or explained. And maybe that's the kind of story we need more of. Not the loud ones, not the flashy ones, but the kind that finds you in the middle of a song, in the warmth of a look, in the stillness between two heartbeats. Bar and Ellen have always carried themselves with grace. They've never chased controversy. They've never needed attention. They've simply focused on their craft and, it seems, on each other. Sources close to both of them describe their connection as undeniable, not loud, not dramatic, just solid. They trust each other. They know each other. And after all this time, it appears that trust has only grown stronger. But what's most beautiful is how normal it all is. No performance, no spectacle. Just two people who've been through a lot together and apart, quietly finding each other again. In a world obsessed with spectacle, their story is refreshingly human. And perhaps that's why we care so much. Because we see ourselves in them. In the pauses, in the uncertainties, in the hope that maybe, just maybe, something beautiful isn't over, it's just beginning again. As the internet continues to search for clues, to analyze every gesture, every eye movement in that dance, Bar and Ellen remain still, calm, silent, letting the moment speak for itself. And what a moment it was. One guest described it best. It didn't feel like we were watching a reunion. It felt like we were watching something that had never really ended. Maybe that's what real connection looks like. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to explain itself. It simply returns quiet and certain when it's ready. So to Ellen and Bar, thank you. Thank you for showing us that sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that live in the quiet. The ones that don't ask to be believed. The ones that just are. And to you, watching this video, thank you for believing with me. Thank you for feeling this story. And thank you for still believing in the power of one dance to say what words never could. Until next time, hold close the things that matter. Cherish the people who understand you without needing you to explain. And never forget, some moments don't need to be captured to be remembered forever. Take care. See you in the next video.